hello. Welcome to Uganda at Crossroads. Remember where you're watching from. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching in from your Facebook page, you can share the page, like the page, start a watch party and invite your friends. You know, some of you have watch parties all across states, you know, across continents. This is Uganda at Crossroads, and we're talking about nothing but the country of Uganda, the current status quo in the country. My name is Moses Mukitale, and as usual, we are broadcasting to you live from the beautiful state of Massachusetts here in the beautiful city of Boston, or we are actually located in Waltham. So if you're watching us for the very first time, we are always here every Saturday. And lately we've been talking about the election in Uganda. Now we're talking about the aftermath of the election in Uganda. Today, we shall give you an opportunity to call in and give us your views. That will be at a time when we shall have, we shall be telling you when to call in, and the number will be on your screen to tell us, you know, what you think about Uganda, what's happening in Uganda. There's so many, you know, the number of kidnaps, you know. You've heard about the government, you know, banning all foreign aid coming in through several organizations. You know, there's so much going on across the country. We also have the petition of Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi, which was filed this Monday. So the country is looking forward to how that petition is going to unfold. Will there be a landmark ruling that everyone could be anticipating or waiting for? So the number that we'll be calling later on, not now, you'll be calling in once we open our lines. If you're outside the USA, it's going to be +1 978 2214 So if you're outside the USA, that would be +1. But if you're within the USA, maybe in Canada, it's going to be 978 2214 But that number will be also on your screen. And we shall be opening the lines for a specific time where you call in and give us your views. We take them down and then respond to them accordingly. So wherever you are, share the page, invite your friends, let them know that Uganda at Crossroads is here. And we are talking about the aftermath of the election, the future of our country, Uganda. So we will be very glad to hear from you and hear what you have to say. Today with me in the studios is Mr. Kapalaga and Sarah Joy. They are all from the National Unity Platform and are going to be discussing with us more about what, you know, is going on with Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi in Uganda, you know, what the role of diaspora is in terms of the aftermath of this election. And there's been so much talk about what can Ugandans do to protest and have their voice heard in regards to the recently concluded election. So all that is going to be discussed today. My two guests, I would like you to greet our viewers before we go any further. I'll start with you, Sarah Joy, on my immediate right, and then we shall go on to...
Good afternoon, everyone watching us from the East Coast, people watching us from the West Coast, people watching us from Uganda, and all over Africa and other parts of the world. I'm happy to be here. It's we are still on the mission to remove a dictator.
Yes.
And
yes.
we have, I've seen people asking, where is plan B? And Honorable Kyagulanyi replied to them and said, we've only had plan A, and you're sticking to that plan because that plan is to remove a dictator. A plan can have sub-plans, subsections within it. Because if you start, you know, diverging around and going to plan B, plan C, focus on one plan. The plan is to remove a dictator. How, when, and where that should be, those are the questions Uganda should be asking now, not plan B. Because the plan is, we are on a mission to remove a dictator.
Mr. Museveni. Kapalaga. Ondako weddemu essuubi tokyalina maanyi.
Uganda.
Olinga gwe basokoddemu ebyenda.
Nze simala googera. Anyway, I greet you, comrades, fellow Ugandans. My name is Michael Kakande, also known as Kapalaga Bebe. I'm an artist, but most importantly, I'm a Ugandan, and I'm here to discuss issues pertaining the governance of my country, where I think I am, as a citizen of that country, I must take part in the governance.
America egamba ki Kapalaga?
America tugiraba. America is democratic. Very recently, America changed its leadership. You know, from the dictatorship to what they think is better. And I normally tell my American friends that you've just had to experience dictatorship for only 4 years. But there is a country down there in the east of Africa which has experienced that for 35 years and still counting. So, and it's not all that Trump was doing is what is going on in Uganda. There is no abducted, there's no one abducted in America. There's no one killed, you know. So, but just like Sarah said, we have a plan, and that plan is Plan A. And that plan is removing a dictator. We never said we have Plan A, B, C, because if you have different plans, it means you thought Plan A would work. So we never thought that the elections would work because it has not worked anyway. But we thought it is just a process amidst this Plan A. So election is a process, court is a process. I think you saw President Museveni paying a courtesy visit to the judges, you know, in the aftermath, in the eve of the case. So President Museveni is the most corrupt person that I've seen, and he will do all that, but there is one person that he can't corrupt, and that is the people.
People of Uganda? I mean, I'm so excited to know that, you know, there's been so much excitement about the case, the particular case you spoke about, the petition that was eventually filed, and I mean, every Ugandan must be looking forward to how this case is going to come up. But as we spoke last week, you know, we all seem to agree that there shouldn't be much anticipation about a landmark ruling that people might expect.
No,
there should actually, there should, but we are basically putting everyone on that test. Like we put Justice Byabakama to the test, you know, as a justice who went to school for I don't know how many years. You know, it must take so long to become a justice. And he was put on a test, and he failed the test. The security organs were put on a test. They failed the test, and now we are putting the judges on a test. We don't want to anticipate because we've not seen what they bring out, but we just want to give them a chance and put them on a test.
I want to add on a little bit. I think what Ugandans need to understand from the time Honorable Kyagulanyi went into the 2021 election, Ugandans must understand that he was not. We had seen what had happened with Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Yes.
We did not expect anything different, apart from maybe the way we campaigned, or the way we did certain things. But what did the participation of Honorable Kyagulanyi give us? For us, it was a win, despite the big win that has been robbed away from us, of which we are continuing to demand. And that's why we are saying the mission to remove a dictator is not yet done. We've gone through some processes. First of all, the election, where did the election put us? As Honorable Kyagulanyi, who is a new person in the field of, who had just joined politics 3 years ago, there have been so many, you know, doubters, people who didn't believe in him, people who thought, you saw before he went into the election, people were saying, oh, he's only popular in Kampala, or he's only, you know, and then all the, you know, whatever they've been putting up, he's only popular in Kampala, he goes up country, so what happened up country? He's not known, he goes to the west, he goes to the west. So basically, what did the campaign? The campaign cemented the name Robert Kyagulanyi, and they forced Robert Kyagulanyi into the politics of Uganda. So now, if Museveni did not had any doubts of who Kyagulanyi is and what his mission is, President Museveni knows. I think the most person he fears in Uganda right now is Honorable Kyagulanyi, because he has seen, having a population of 85% of young people, he has seen the force that rides behind him. He has seen the generation of President Museveni and the elder people. That's a small percentage of the population. So the young people really want change. And who do they see them delivering the change to them? It's Honorable Chagwe, not President Museveni. He has lied to them for 35 years. And he's not going to do anything better. So going into this process, because someone is going to say, why would you go back into a process that Dr. Besigye had been through and it had failed him? Dr. Besigye, that was Dr. Besigye. We needed to test the process as well. And trust me, there are things that happened in the campaigns of 2021 that never happened in any other campaigns that we've seen before. The violence, the police brutality, you've seen right now the kidnaps going on. You know, you've seen the entire campaign team of Honorable Chagulanyi being still in jail right now, taken to the court martial, claiming they had a magazine without a gun. So basically, we needed, the world, Ugandans needed, because right now, the strongest person to take down President Museveni is none other than Honorable Chagulanyi and the people of Uganda. So Ugandans, those who are doubters, who are throwing, doubt among Ugandans, are now quiet. Before they used to say, oh, he only belongs to Kampala. They are quiet. He has made the statement. He has made the statement. He only belongs to social media. He has made the statement. You saw what happened. He reshuffled Museveni's cabinet. Even when, his win was grabbed away from him, he reshuffled his cabinet. He helped Museveni reshuffle the cabinet. Because you do not deny that. Because everyone, there are people, even, in this campaign, I've heard people say, some of the people who wanted to stand, some people were even before advised to pick up the NOP card, and they were saying, no. You heard the statements from the likes of Katolu Buama saying, oh, I'm bigger than NOP, I'm bigger than Bobby Wine. And he cannot repeat those statements right now because he made, he messed up really, really bad. He messed up really, really bad. You've seen people come through, and leave alone the parliamentary, you've seen the local council elections, what NOP has been able to achieve, which other political party has not been able to achieve. And for a party that has been in place for only about 5 months, it has this, it has people who were having any doubts or Ugandans who thought this was not possible. Now they're seeing, light at the end of the tunnel. The court process we are going through. The court process, Major, I don't think the team of Honorable Chagulanyi, they are going in because they expect the Supreme Court judges to tell them, oh, what I'm very sure they're going to say, oh, okay, there were things that went wrong, but it's not enough to overturn an election. They've said that we don't expect that, that rhetoric to change. It's going to be the same. But when you compare what has happened in elections before and this was crazy. The mass rigging, the voter bribery was crazy compared to any other election we've ever had. But are they going to overturn it? No. But and I want Ugandans to pay attention to the court sessions, because for the most we are going to achieve here is to expose the judiciary and how rotten it is. Just like we were able to unmask and expose, you remember the time of Chibalama and the case. Yep. Yes, it was a win for Honorable Chagulanyi and the NUP, but you saw how exposed the entire system was. The UPDF was involved. You saw is it Colonel Mohozi, something like that. You saw the UPDF, and you wonder, why are they interested? These are supposed to be non-partisan. Why are they into the politics of Uganda? So the attention, I want Ugandans should not expect that these judges you saw that made President Museveni, and he made some promises, and I'm sure they came off with envelopes, are going to do anything contrary to what their boss wants. But you should pay attention at how much we are going to unmask, at how much the rigging happened, at how much the team of lawyers from NUP, how much they're going to put out there for Ugandans to understand that this is how rotten the system and this is how rotten the government is, and this is how the dictator has deeply rooted itself. So that is not going to change. But we need to go through that process again. The final process of how we are going to take down Museveni, it's not going to be an election. It's not going to be through the court system of which he elects himself. You saw how Basaja, you saw how Biabakama, even on national television, Byabakama was asking, are these the right results? He didn't even know what he was reading. He was being given, because as the driver of this entire election and campaign, he should be knowing the figures. He should be knowing, So basically, he was being given figures, and he was meant to read figures, of which he was like, is this true? He was also doubting. He couldn't even believe these figures were coming in. So at the end of the day, we must understand, Ugandans must know the final, entirely how we are going to get the change we need. It is not going to be through an election, because you've seen not having an independent electoral commission, the one that is chosen by President Museveni, having the military and the police being key players in an election, yet they're supposed to be partisan, non-partisan. You saw entirely that these people work for President Museveni, the police, the army, the way they handled Honorable Chagulanyi and the other people. So that is not going to give us victories. It's not going to. What is going to get Museveni out of Uganda is an uprising. Ugandans should start looking into that direction. And the questions I'm seeing on social media, people asking, where should we start from? Start from where you are. For the questions I've seen on social media, people are asking, who is going to lead it? No uprising that has happened in Africa or any other part of the world that was led by someone. Uprisings are started by people, they are spontaneous. No one plans them, because don't think you're going to plan an uprising and Museveni is going to let you go like that. 35 years in power, he must be having, he has a lot of gum on his, on his buttocks right now that you cannot separate. It will be hard to separate the chair and himself from it, because he doesn't know how to live any other life. He doesn't know how to live a normal life, of which you would expect him at his age. He would be in retirement, enjoying his cows, just waking up and not worrying about the problems of Uganda. Let someone else run the country, and you sit and watch and advise. But he doesn't want to give up. So it is going to take Ugandans. No, you saw what happens on 14th November. It was spontaneous, no one planned it, and that's why you saw what happened. And did you see what happened? Because that caught them so unaware, they prepared for the elections. You saw what happened in Kampala. They got all the Mambas, all the fighter jets, everything was in Kampala, because they were preparing. The 14th caught them very unaware. They didn't know it was going to happen. So if Ugandans want change, the next step would be, the nearest step to kicking out President Museveni is going to be an uprising, and and don't sit back and say, oh, we are waiting for Honorable Chagulanyi to start it.
I've seen Joy in the US.
Exactly. I've seen people say, oh, what is the Namboze doing? Oh, what is Segirinya doing? Those are very few people to start an uprising. You need, basically what you need on the streets of Kampala, you need 1 million Ugandans for an uprising to happen.
It's now coming close to 1 month after the election, and
it can happen anytime.
And we have not had any single protest.
I don't think a protest is gonna be determined by when did we have an election. Why hasn't it happened? It can even happen today. It can even happen tomorrow. I think people have been asking, where is the spark? There are so many sparks that have been happening. But again, it's going to take Ugandans to say enough is enough. Because so many, right now, kidnaps are happening. People are being kidnapped. I've seen so many families come out to the media. My son, my wife, my daughter, my brother. They've come out. Those are all sparks. But it is going to take Ugandans to say enough is enough. We won't take down Museveni. Because Museveni has kept Ugandans, and I think one of... we should accept and say we are a little bit as cowards as Ugandans. We are a little bit, we've seen other people, you saw Kenyans, what they did. We are a little bit as, cowards. And maybe that comes from, because the gun has been put so much in our face, any small thing you see people, and we've seen how our brothers and sisters have been brutalized. And, that has made us get scared. But also in other countries where uprisings have happened, such things have happened, people have been brutalized and they come out. So don't ask for the plan B. And I was glad Honorable Chagulanyi was able to ask and mention and say, because people are asking what is the plan B. He said, our plan has always been plan A, and our mission is to remove a dictator. If you start having all the diverging plans, plan B, plan C, plan C, you're going to lose focus. The plan should be to remove a dictator. And how you remove a dictator, you've gone through all this, because all these processes are going to expose for people to, for everything to sink in, for everyone to understand and know that you cannot approach Museveni through a court system. You cannot take him out through through an election, and how massively he was able to rig that election and you know, and give himself a win of which he did not get or does not deserve. So the other thing, after all those exposure, because Honorable Kyagulanyi is exposing to you and showing you ABCD is happening. So the final thing is going to be Ugandans who are tired, who have lost hope, to come out and say, we want our country back. Yes, we are not going to take away the fact that people are going to say, oh, people are going to be killed. Yes. In an uprising, definitely some people are going to be killed. We know that. But what's the difference? I saw Honorable Dombo. He was saying, someone asked, they want a program, and someone mentioned what kind of country where the government is killing it, people celebrate the killing of other people because, you know, that's what is happening. And he said, oh, even Jesus died on the cross. Those are government people who sit in a... These are people who are saying, they are saying, oh, the killing is okay. They don't care about how many Ugandans are being killed. The killing is okay because it's not happening to their children. Yes, we are not saying people are not going to die in an uprising. Some people are going to die. Some people are going to die. But 1 million, these people cannot kill 1 million Ugandans. Definitely not. The most they will kill maybe 500 people. They cannot kill, because look at, and we've been looking, people are saying, oh, you're instigating, you're pushing people to do all these things. But look at the entire security military force. Military police is 60,000. If 1 million Ugandans came out. And don't start from, people are saying, oh, where should we start from? Start from Kampala Road. Because why are you starting? They started from far. They started from Luwero and took them all 5 years. We need Museveni out like yesterday. Kampala Road is where we are going to start from. So and I'm seeing people, so many people, either on social media or elsewhere, asking these leaders, oh, where are you? What should we do? Leaders, what have you done? You as a Ugandan, what have you done? Because you're asking Segirinya. What has he...
They voted, so they thought the only hope they had was to use that.
No, but they've seen.
Our democratic
They've seen that the democratic institutions, the fact that they are being manned by President Museveni, they do not work. So if they do not work, you continue with the mission to remove a dictator. And the last mission, and the last way, you know, we've seen how dictators fallen all over Africa. You know, the democratic means work in countries like America, because every time I would see Trump speak, I would tell people here that America is breeding a dictator and they do not know. Coming from a country where there is a dictator, I saw they were nurturing. I saw some of the congressmen, congresswomen, you know, senators were nurturing a dictator, and I was in shock. I'm like, you people, do you know what you're nursing? This 10 years, and you had him at some point, he was talking of a third term, and I'm like, oh my God. A person who is embracing dictators like Putin, you know, the guy of Korea, North Korea, and the beauty with a system like America, they have systems that work. The electoral bodies are completely independent of the sitting government. As much as Trump he has dictatorial tendencies that are in him, and he wanted, you know, and he was really showing that he's a dictator, he had no control over the election. He does not man it, he does not organize it. So the systems, the democracy in such countries is so grown that someone else who is so independent is going to, in fact, it's more of states run the elections in America.
They announce their results.
They announce their results.
Regardless of whether Washington is happy or not.
Or not. So states man the elections and announce the results, and they control, even they print the ballot papers, they control the systems that vote, they control the mail-in ballots. So even if as much as you saw even the insurrection, even if, as much as Trump tried up to the last minute to stay in power, it was impossible. The American people had spoken. But that happens because they have
which
democracies.
won't happen in Uganda at this point.
Exactly. It cannot happen. So the final thing that is going to happen is at least the minimum you need, 1 million Ugandans on the streets of Kampala. They don't have to do anything. You don't have to be 1 million Ugandans come and sit. Close up the streets of Kampala. You don't have to be burning stuff. You don't have to be, but come out. Definitely, the violence is not going to come from the 1 million Ugandans. The violence is going to come from the police. But remember, there are 60,000. 60,000 versus 1 million. Man. And most of them are oppressed. They will get scared. So stop asking for plan B, C, D. The only plan is to remove a dictator, and the final straw to remove a dictator, and what we've seen how other dictators have gone around the world are uprisings.
Kapalaga, is it right for someone to say Ugandans, a certain section of Ugandans has conceded that there is nothing that is going to be done to change power in Uganda? I mean, as I said, it is now coming close to a month. People are seeing, yesterday, on Thursday, they announced that school is opening. Senior 3, Senior 5, and Senior 5, Senior 3, and P6. They're going to start school. And it seems like it's changing. People are moving into a different trajectory now. You know, the government is trying to move in a different trajectory. Should it be right to say there's a section of Uganda now that has just considered defeat and said, I think it's not worth it?
Moses, never underestimate a silent person. Even in our daily life. If you see as a person who is silent, he's actually more deadly than a person who overspeaks. Now, I think the government of Uganda should not mistake the silence of Ugandans to have considered. Because even President Museveni himself knows that he did not win this election. And President Museveni knows that he's going to be removed. And President Museveni knows that Ugandans are not violent. Ugandans want to remove him through the constitutional means, and that is what is going to happen. That is why we are going through all the processes that the Constitution provides. We went for the elections. We are now going for the court. And yes, the Constitution provides for a protest, a peaceful protest. The Constitution provides for that. What President Museveni and his team should be worried about now is the fact that every Ugandan is crying. You know, there is abduction everywhere. Uganda is number 24 on the fragile state index. Uganda is basically a failed state. And what I want to read for you what a failed state is. I will use her phone, sorry.
Right, I mean, as you check that.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you what a failed state is. A failed state, or a fragile state for that matter, is a political body that has disintegrated to a point where basic conditions and responsibilities of a sovereign government no longer function properly. I think, Mwami Mukitale, you've seen soldiers contradicting, like security personnel who are supposed to protect the people and their property, making contradicting statements. The chief of police says he doesn't know who is abducting people. I saw, I don't know whether he's still a colonel or General Klaije on TV. Felix.
He's an ambassador. He's still in the army.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's a general. But he was saying, well, I also don't agree with abducting people. We don't know about these cars. But Ugandans are being abducted. Yes. Ugandans are being killed. And the security that is supposed to give them security is saying, we don't know what is happening.
So you wonder, is there another state inside Uganda? Is there another, because you could be a state inside another state.
So that is a simple indication that these guys are not in charge. If someone is operating on their own, probably, you know, those cars have now become famous, the drones. They, and all over Facebook and social media, people are instigating that drone ijirabe duka, obachoma.
But to add on what, you know, just to throw in before he completes his comment, the drones, they say they do not know that people, or they are being used for abducting people. They are only abducting people who oppose government. That is very key. We've not had people from the NRM being abducted. It is people who are opposing government who are being abducted and taken into these drones and made to disappear, and their families are crying.
And all these people are being, there is one single case that they are putting on everyone that they are abducting. That is to someone who has a chance to be presented to court. Which court?
The military court.
The military court. And they are putting I hear you put on a red beret, like this one, on 17th November. And over 3,000 people are rotting in jail. This is what happened in 1980s. Actually, Obote was against Museveni, who was bombing petrol stations, who was bombing, and Obote had to react. President Museveni is dealing with the people who are just putting on a beret, and he's doing whatever he's doing. Now, that is why I'm telling you, Uganda is a failed state, and it is, if you can even search the fragile states, it's called the Fragile Index.
We are ranking there.
So Uganda is number 24. I don't even know who did that. I think Uganda should be a little bit up. It can't be number 24. I mean,
in regards to the kidnap, the abductions, there was an estimated number that was given by Mr. Robert Chagulanyi of around 3,000 people, party members, who he said across the country that have gone missing. But police came out this week and said they are only aware of 31 missing cases. 31 missing.
And Lokech said he's not
whose whereabouts they are yet to establish.
And Lokech said he's not actually aware that people are being abducted. I mean, that is Lokech. The deputy
so where do they get the numbers
IGP. His mandate is to give protection to these people. But he comes on a national TV and he says, I don't know he's abducting people. That is what happened in 2018 when women were killed.
Yes. And the people, some of them who have been able to get a chance to come back after being abducted, they are badly beaten. I was seeing a gentleman in the hospital, you know, he was abducted, and after 5 days, you know, he resurfaced badly beaten, he's in the hospital.
Our constitution clearly says, if someone probably committed a crime, you have to go present yourself to him. I am a police. You wanted to police for such and such a crime. And then the police is supposed to inform his family. You see what is happening. In Uganda, they just come, take you, I don't know, the family doesn't even know who is taking you. They are putting on layer clothes anyway.
And covering their faces.
Covering their faces.
And the drones have no number plates. So
literally, the country is being governed by wolves.
I mean, it's a state of anarchy that is, because we still have a shutdown on the media.
Do you want me to read for you? Do you want me to read for you
people are still using VPN.
People are using VPN.
Even the government, the government banned the social media, and it uses social media to communicate.
I mean, it's official now. This is the second month
to read for you this
of a shutdown on the social media.
A failed state is a political body that has disintegrated to a point where basic conditions and responsibilities of a sovereign government no longer function properly. Is Uganda a failed state? Mukitale,
I mean,
I'm asking.
For long we have asked that question, but it keeps defying the right answer. Now, my only worry is that even with all this going on, as I have said, we still have that shutdown on the social media, right, in Uganda, which has become now official. Everyone knows it's official. It is illegal. Okay, government said even using VPN is illegal in Uganda.
Yeah, and they want to gazette it for the army, I hear.
They're going to clamp down on whoever using VPN.
They are jokers.
So that is on one side. On the other side, we are still having, like this week we saw the government came out on the January 2nd, no, last week but one, January 2nd, and they suspended the operations of the European donor-funded Democratic Governance Facility, that's DGF, because government, according to sources, they say that the government was concerned that the money is originating from foreign sources is going to end up financing campaigns of people like Bobi Wine and the others to overthrow Mr. Museveni. We also saw last year, by the way, if you're very, very cautious, the Nabagerika Foundation had an issue where they thought she was also receiving money from foreign sources, but then they eventually realized they had made a big mistake and they had to unfreeze her bank account. So they have frozen all the accounts of this, the DGF, and they're saying every fund that is coming into Uganda through it is being used, to fight the government. Now, there's a lot of work that has been going on that has been suspended across the country because of this fund that has been going.
If you're looking at, and Ugandans need to...
So too much anarchy, too much pressure.
Ugandans need to understand that President Museveni has given up on what he can do for Ugandans, and now it is what he can do for himself and the people around him. As looking into how many organizations DGF have been, because for it it's a union of European countries that collect funds and fund locally based organizations. About 50 organizations are going to close in Uganda because they're not
78.
They're not going to access funds, and some of them are not even, have not been even in what you call leadership. Some of them are women organizations, women development. Yeah. Some of them empowerment. There are so many advocacy. So many organizations, and now as organizations,
and many of them are government.
And as many organizations are going to shut down, ask yourself, over 10,000 or 20,000 Ugandans are going to be rendered jobless. Does Museveni care that Ugandans are going to be jobless? He does not care. Does Museveni? So, but when you look,
he says he's doing it for the stability of
there's
the country.
Nothing like when you look at when you look at the whole, when you look at DGF and its aims and what exactly it has been looking at. For example, some of the organizations that have been beneficiaries are organizations that are doing women entrepreneurship and empowerment. How does that destabilize the country? Some of organizations that have been beneficiaries, because I've seen on DGF, some of the things they've been teaching Uganda is about things like corruption, things like accountability, things like voter education and election. Because look at you, ask yourself, going into this election, the president was not really prepared. All the electoral commission, they didn't do any civic education at all. Okay, let's say they were not able to reach out to the people, but even TVs, did you see any messages about violence, about how you should vote? There were no messages running. We were watching, Ugandan televisions. Nothing was running about the election. But what they are doing, because someone gave Museveni a rumor, because Museveni operates 90% on rumors. His intelligence is so bad that you see when you hear stories coming from the likes of the Eddie Mutwes who are in jail, they are being said, you have to tell us, we're going to cut off your hair or your beard if you don't tell us Bobi Wine's secrets. As if Bobi Wine has any secrets. What is the plan B? So they have zero intelligence, and you wonder, what do they sit there to do? Why are all these people there if they can't even do their... Because he operates on 80% rumors. If he knew some of this, he would have gone into deeper understanding into what do these organizations... They are helping him do what he has failed to do as a president, or even his own electoral body, into civic education. And helping, because if you have issues of unemployment in a country like Uganda, and you're going to render over 20,000 or more people jobless, so what are you doing? Because the moment you stop these funds coming in, all these organizations are going to shut down because they cannot pay salaries or run or community-based activities of what they're going to do, so they're going to shut down. So you're adding another 20,000 or 30,000 onto your unemployment lot. And people have families, people have homes, people have... So it is. It has come, and this is when Ugandans need to wake up and do something. Because President Museveni, it is only him, and he was very clear. You know, one of the things I like about him, as much as I hate him, I've gotten to that level of, you know, hate is a big word. As much as, because what I don't understand is how selfish can you be? 35 years in power. Man, rest. You saw Obama came in as president when he was in his 40s. He only, 8 years, the guy had gone gray already. 8 years, how stressful the job is. It is, right now you see Obama, the older Obama is coming back. The gray hair is beginning to fade off. And the guy, by the time he left after 5 years, he had grown old. Yet he was only in his 50s. So what I don't understand is a person, 35 years, who does not want to take a break? The guy should be in retirement. Don't you? I don't understand. I believe President Museveni has all the money in the world for him to retire and rest. But how selfish can you be when you know you've gotten at a stage where your entire system and you're stagnant. You cannot tell me that President Museveni, he's not going to do anything in the next 5 years. Even if he wants another 5 years, he's not going to do anything for this country. Apart from what they've specialized in right now, they are looting. They want to steal everything. To an extent, finally what they're going to do, we are going to find when they've sold up Ugandans. We are going to wake up when Uganda is now the Republic of Uganda stroke maybe China. When China's bought of every Ugandan and Africa. You are supposed to pay all the debts.
It's a huge worry that, and that's why we want to hear from you. We're going to be opening our lines very soon to understand what your views are about Uganda. What do you think needs to be done, you know, to push our country forward? You know, it's surprising, I was thinking about it, that Uganda is the only country in East Africa that is still closing all the schools, that our schools in East Africa. I was checking on Kenya, they're having their schools, Tanzania, they're having their schools open, Rwanda, Congo, Burundi, maybe I'm mistaken somewhere, but I was just trying to sample and understand
you see,
why
the other thing I'm going to drop in, and why it is still Uganda, is because you have a minister who is illiterate. You see, the things, you know one of the things developed countries do.
Which minister are you talking about?
The Minister of Education. You see, what countries do is, and I've been following up Biden's, picks for his cabinet, for his Secretary of State and all that. He's going for the people with experience. If he's getting a guy into defense, the guy has experience to do that. But it is only in Uganda where you find the minister in charge of education is a senior, primary or senior plus dropout. That woman never stepped in any university. She graduated from Makerere by proxy. She never attended any lecture room. She never did any teaching practice. She has no experience of running a full ministry, a very important ministry like education. Even a simple office was given to run Karamoja. What did they do? They depreciated they got all this, after stealing all the gold they could from Karamoja. She had to leave Karamoja. So when you get someone as incompetent as the first lady, and you make her a full minister of an important, ministry like education, what do you expect? Because if that woman was smart, or if she had a smart team around her, they would have done research to tell her that even in countries that have been badly affected by COVID, COVID is not among the children and the teenagers. If they are going to get it, they are just symptomatic. But the crazy, and I would say stupid thing for her to do, you open up a few classes and you leave the rest. So the ones you've opened, can they take COVID back home? Because not every child is in a boarding school. If you've opened primary 6, you've opened senior 3, and opened senior 5, that means the ones you've opened are going to take COVID back home. But have you thought about the kids staying back home? Has she even thought about how many teenage pregnancies are going to happen from kids being
that's what I was going to say, because
teenage pregnancies that are going to happen.
The rise, and it's on the rise.
The kids have taken a year without going to school.
The countryside.
After, they do not know even COVID when it's going to end from their side, because they don't even have the vaccine yet. So do they know? When you take off kids, they've wasted a full year without being in school. This would be a very good time, fresh beginning of the year for them to go back. Do they know how much the kids are going to be affected? are they ever going to be able to get back into the study mode of going back to school after, I don't know for how long they are going to be, you know?
I mean, they say...
And they don't have...
Until the government decides when it is safer,
and
then they will
when
open
is it
up.
going to be safer? Because they don't have an alternative.
But what we hear from you, you're going to call in. The number is going to be on your screen. We'll take a few calls once you start calling, and then you'll give us your views. You're talking about...
Yeah, what I wanted to talk about is President Museveni will not care about anything apart from that which keeps him in power. The institution that we've just been talking about is democratic governance. Democratic governance. President Museveni has only held elections because they cement his dictatorship. You know, he's an elected dictator. So, if at all these people want accountability, he will not allow that. He would rather thousands lose their jobs than him giving accountability to these people. I'll tell you for a fact, our parents had a subject called civics.
Do we still have civics? I don't know.
Civics was meant to, first of all, create leaders, okay? And then make sure people know what is happening in their country. We don't have civics. I think you've heard President Museveni bashing political education. Because he doesn't want people to understand how governance takes place. That is why he's so mad with Bobi Wine, because Bobi Wine has done that civic education to make people become more assertive and more involved in the governance of their country. President Museveni has never wanted that. That is why he has kept us, you know, drinking, he has kept us dancing, he has kept us...
And he's closing the bars.
He's only telling us, you see, you can sleep. And that is all we have to talk about. Yep. I think you saw his recent address. He told people, elections are done, go back.
To doing what?
To your normal life.
What is the normal life?
I mean, normal seems to be returning in most communities.
So President Museveni has never seen himself out of power. Just like Sarah said, because he has overlived in power, he thinks it is his right to be president of Uganda. And whoever wants to oust him is depriving him of that right.
Birthright.
It is kind of a birthright. So he's like, no, these people don't want me to be president.
And you see, the funny thing, it will even be hard for him even to hand over to any of his either family members or any comrades. It's going to be hard because he's drunk on power. He's literally so drunk.
I just shared a video on my Facebook where people, some town in Austria, hosted President Museveni and 8 other people during the war. And I think Austria was facilitating that war. And when they realized that the rebel that they had been hosting is now president, I think they read the New York Post. They were so happy. And President Museveni went and visited them as a president. He promised them that he would come back retired. They've been waiting for that for 40 years. A place in Austria has been waiting to see President Museveni retired for 40 years. Now, just imagine how many people have died during that period. Because he's not honest. He has not been honest to himself. He's not honest to Ugandans. And this time around, Ugandans have shown him that, boss, we are tired. And the number of people who came up to vote is a record turn-up. Like literally around 10 million, over 10 million people came out to vote. You saw the registration forms had an increase of around 4 million people. President Museveni knows that he and his people were giving Byabakama what to read. Just like Sarah said, Byabakama would come to TV not knowing what he's going to read. The head of the Electoral Commission, we saw him asking, is this the right number?
I mean, that's the state of the country. I mean, because we didn't have any internet, so he had to.
So I want to pose this question
maybe
to you,
they were
Mr.
getting the
Mukitale.
questions.
I want to pose this question to you, Mr. Mukitale. Is Uganda a failed state?
I mean, with all evidence you've given, even without giving evidence, for as long as you have a person who has been in power for 35 years, obviously they have become corrupt in their mindset and in their thinking and judgment. There is so much, as I told you, people laugh at Uganda and Kenya. They say, you guys, you're just a joke, you know. We don't understand how you can tolerate 35 years. We feel even 10 years is long here in Kenya. I mean, it's something that I feel Ugandans have got to a point. It's like when you're sick, you have a sickness and it is on you for 30 years. You get, even when I tell you Kaparaga,
no, but you see,
people keep saying,
people are becoming complacent. People are getting used.
They're like,
but you see,
we can't do anything right now. We can't do anything. We can't change. You know?
Again, the giving up. If Ugandans want to give up, the giving up is going to affect, because if President Museveni came into power, the majority, because 85% of Ugandans are below the age, they're 40 and below. So even those who are from 35 to 40, they were kids. They were between the age of 1 and 5 or 4 when President Museveni came to power. So that means they literally, a child of that age doesn't know anything that happened. If you tell that child to tell you anything about the war, they know nothing. They were babies, they were young. They don't know, they cannot recollect of what happened. So it is 40 years of President Museveni, and look at how many youth that have been deprived. You do not know what it means to go through school. Most of Ugandans are educated. Ugandans have been able to go through the education system of Uganda. People have sold land, people have sold property to see their kids through school, and what are they doing now? They are jobless. It is in Uganda where you find, I was watching a clip by some reverend father who was telling people that before, a widow it was very easy for a widow to take care of her 10 kids after the loss of the husband. In the Uganda where we live today, 10 kids cannot look after one widow. And that is a fact. In fact, what they are doing, the 10 kids are planning ways of how to kick out the widow from the small piece of land she has, so that they can grab it, so that they can sell it.
They can sell it.
You see,
so our lines are open, and there's a number on your screen.
This
you can
is
call
where
in and give us your view.
I watched that video more than once, and it was so enlightening of where we are, and Ugandans need to reflect on, because before, I grew up as, my father died when I was young. I grew up as an orphan, and I saw my mom manage to educate all of us. But tables turned, and this guy was speaking to me. He's speaking to me from the heart, and I'm like, how many families are out there where a woman or a man has managed to take her kids to school, but now the kids cannot even take care of the parent? That at this time, those are the old women you find fending for what to eat, yet they have kids. And that is the majority of Ugandans. And do you blame the kids? The kids are kicking their parents out of the properties, the small piece of land, they are selling it to buy a border only to be hit by a hitman, and the border is gone and you're dead. So everything is lost along the way. So, but President Museveni, at this point in time, it may be right. He may feel he has control over everything. But I'm telling you, he has pressed the nose so hard that I'm telling you, when President Museveni is not going to live forever. If he does not go through any other means, natural calamities are going to befall him. President Museveni, one day he will die. He's not going to live forever. But I'm telling you, his entire legacy, him and his family, is going to be destroyed. I am telling you, you will never, Uganda is going to get to a state where even mentioning that you're related to Museveni or, you know, you come from, basically he has not only destroyed for him, but people from the West. Because after all the things he has done to them, and you saw what happened on Honorable Chagulanyi's campaign trail, everyone, people who are involved in everyone whose name was named in either throwing a grenade or tear gas canister was from the West. He's really alienating people from the West to an extent. They are going to get to a stage where people from the North, people from the Central, people from the West, from the East, are going to look at them as the people that harbored, nurtured someone who has made their lives so uncomfortable. And this is going to sprout from so many things. When you look at everywhere Bobi Wine went, you never saw any other person from any, you never saw any Mutumba, you never saw any Musoke, you never saw anyone from any other tribe or people from the North, West, East, or East, you know, manhandling and brutalizing and beating up these people. It was a group of people from the West. So, as Museveni is doing all this, he should know, you know, he's also bringing grounds for a civil war, where people in the West are going to have a problem, and he has created it. And the people from the West and those who have the power, a very few of them may feel comfortable, because I know definitely not everyone in the West is comfortable. Most of them are suffering like any other Ugandans. But you see, the few of them who are comfortable have painted a very bad picture for the rest of them, that the rest of Uganda is going to look at them as the people who brutalized us. Not even, you know, knowing, oh, I wasn't part of them, but the entire group of people where Museveni comes from that brutalized us. So he should, as they're doing all this, as they're amassing wealth, stealing, they should think of where are they going to live, because he has heads of cattle, he has relatives, he has families, he has kids, the kids have had kids, they have amassed all this wealth. But he should ask himself, after he's gone, are they going to be able to man and control what they've amassed? He should be able to look at families of Milton Obote, families of Obote. Then when people felt those families, you know, you saw, by the way, you should look at how the North has been able, over time, I think the 35 years of President Museveni has made the North recover from what those two presidents did to them in terms of how the other parts of the country were looking at the people from the North. Because, you know, if you said you're maybe an Acholi, people thought immediately you're Obote. If you said you're maybe a Langi or you're from Western, people thought, oh, this must be someone from Amin's family. And these are psychological things that grew up in people's minds, and stories start happening. So this is after 35 years, and the North has cleaned up itself, because the North has recovered from that. It is going to go to the West. When they are going to recover from that, I do not know. But who has caused it? Selfish leaders who do not want to leave power, and they are using people from their own, you know, small circles to brutalize the rest of Ugandans. Because at the end of the day, when you parade all the people who manhandled all the other campaign agents, they were from one tribe. They were from the West. And the other people are also asking why. Why are the people from Western Uganda treating us as if they are more Ugandans than us? And you may overlook that and think, oh, it is just plain. But I'm telling you, such things are growing into people's minds. You may think, oh, Ugandans are going back to the normal. But these questions are being raised every day in people's minds, and they may not have answers today. But tomorrow, I'm telling you, people are gonna change names of their children. A Mugisha is going to call himself another name because they cannot, you know. If that happened, if the northern part of Uganda is just, you know, finalizing the cleansing up, yet all these leaders only did, did 9 years, Obote did about 8 years. What about the 35? How long is it going to take for the people of Western Uganda to cleanse themselves? Over that, it's more of a curse that is sitting onto the entire region. But a majority of them responsible? No. But it is a few people. And that's why when we are talking of, or when we are talking of the people who are brutalizing the presidential candidates, we are not saying, we are saying, oh, people from Western Uganda, the Banyankole, or the Banyankole. Where are we leaving those people? Have we thought as leaders today who are only thinking about them being in power, do they know what they are doing to that entire region where they are going to be alienated? People are going to look at them as the region that brutalized us for them to keep themselves in power. So leaders need to think about that because, you know, that also instigates a civil war within a country, starting from such things.
I mean, I've been reading something very interesting here, and as we're waiting whether if our phone line is going to go through, President Yoweri Museveni responded to the election petition filed by Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi. I'm reading the New Vision, today's New Vision, Saturday New Vision. And in his rebuttal, which was filed by his lawyers from KK and advocates, blah, 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 Museveni argued that the elections held on January 14, 2021 were conducted in a free and fair manner. Quote, I'm quoting President Museveni himself. He says the elections were conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Presidential Elections Act and Electoral Commission Act and in compliance with the principles laid down in those provisions. And therefore, he doesn't see any ground under which the elections can be overturned. He says the elections and the governance as pleaded in those paragraphs, whatever is given up, of course, the first respondent is Mr. Museveni. And they are saying that there is no evidence enough that can be given as to overturn Mr. Museveni's election. So this has been submitted also to the Supreme Court as a rebuttal to Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi's petition that was submitted. So we are waiting to see on that, but it's an interesting piece. If you want to go and read about it in today's New Vision, you'll find Museveni's response to Robert Kyagulanyi's election petition, in which Mr. Museveni is giving all reasons available to prove that the election was free and fair, one, but secondly, that the results that were announced were the actual results that were, coming in from the communities, that took part in this election. Kapalaga, as we coming to the end of the show, what are your fears currently? My fears, as I began with, was that the country is moving into a direction that is bringing back normalcy. I saw that they brought a new Airbus, was it Airbus, that was ushered in this week, and Ugandans were, excited about the progress the country is making. There have been steps made. I told you about what is education. They're going to open schools for some sections. What are your fears in regards to the momentum that we felt should be coming up right now? Because once we go into 3 months, 4 months, in all due fairness, people begin to think maybe we need to give up now. We need to give up. You have any fears, apparently, for yourself? I mean, you are a diehard, but do you have any fears within you?
Before I tell you about fears, I want to just inform you that we apprehended that case, and there is some more addition that we put on that case, and we are waiting on the reaction of all those people who are taking part and parcel in the case. So that's why we can't have the date for the hearing, because we have a lot of evidence, and
overwhelming evidence.
Overwhelming, and the Constitution allows you to amend the case and include other evidence that you had not put, and we just did that. Now, about fears, Mr. Mukitale, the country is not driving to normalcy, like you said.
Well,
the country is being forced to normalcy.
That's the direction that is going now.
The country is being forced to normalcy. And that is so difficult, because you're not just going to tell people that elections are done, now you go. No. People exercised their right to vote for a leader that they deem and feel they love. And you can't just steal their victory and tell them, now you go. That is not going to happen.
Well, that's what they were told.
as part of driving the country to normalcy, I'll tell you that the government of Uganda had spent over $2 million to bring Mama Awards. I am an artist. I love being nominated. I've ever won, I won an award in 2018, Best Contemporary Song of the Year, Omwana wa Mama. And the way I felt was, I've made it. You know, I have an award to my name. But awards are nothing when people are being killed. That is why you saw the hashtag Ugandans Lives Matter. And this is basically what is happening. The Mama Awards are not going to happen. Not because the government wants, but because people are saying so. People tweeted and told MTV Base Africa that, hey, you're bringing awards to celebrate what? We are being killed. The biggest artists cannot freely walk. Some of the artists are incarcerated. They are being laid within the court martials over nothing. And you're bringing your awards here? No. And the MTV Base Africa had to listen to the people. That is why I'm telling you, the people have the power. It is that power of the people that is going to oust President Museveni. So I am appealing to all of you Ugandans that the battle is now on Twitter. Everyone open up a Twitter account and look out for those tweets that are pro-Uganda or anti-Uganda and tweet as accordingly. We have, I know you are going to ask me about the diaspora. We have a concurrent, we have a working meeting that happens every night. Every night we are tweeting, we are sending messages. So if you want to do, if you want to be part of this, I'll ask you to send us a message if you want to be part of this. It happens at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then those people, those comrades in Europe are also getting one in their time zone. And then those comrades in Africa. Mr. Mukitale, we are driving this. The government is simply forcing people to go to normal. I'll tell you, just today, the First Lady said I hear the nursery schools are going to be closed until Uganda is free of COVID. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Does anyone know when Uganda is going to be free of COVID?
And COVID is not going to go away. COVID is going to become like any other, just like you see you have influenza in America where people take a flu shot every year. That's how COVID, the scientists, the people who understand science.
It's just the silence of Ugandans about all these issues that beats someone's understanding.
They are not silent.
As I said, for so long, Ugandans have been used to this kind of dictatorship.
Yes, you see, being governed for 35 years.
In doing anything.
Sometimes you think like human rights violation is normal. Okay? For example, I'll tell you that as we were growing up, we would buy a bread at 50 shillings or 100 shillings. Oh, okay, let me talk about a razor blade. We've always bought a razor blade at 50 shillings. Today, a razor blade could be like 200 shillings. There must be reason, and there must be an explanation to that. They don't explain, they just raise the price, and people are used. That is the problem, and that is why President Museveni hates Kyagulanyi. Because Kyagulanyi has done that role of awakening Ugandans to make sure they take part in whatever is going is happening in their country as pertaining to governance. The prices should not just go up like that. We have to, there must be an explanation. The people should not be just killed like that. There must be an explanation. People are not going to be abducted like that. You see the panic that is happening in security forces. It is because people are putting pressure. And we want to appeal to the people to put more pressure. Because we are the people power. Our power is stronger than the people in power. But if we use that power to demand equal rights and justice, we shall definitely get that what we are demanding for. And that is the power we are using to demand for our victory. If we just push harder to demand for our victory, that power that we have as the people will oust the people in power because they are weaker.
And for those in the diaspora, because you told me you are still reaching out to everyone and giving them activities of how they can engage. Let's say someone is watching in from the Middle East. Maybe they're watching in from Dubai. Apart from Twitter, as you said, is there any other activities that you have that are going on online they can join in?
Yes.
Like meetings?
Yes, we have, like I said, we have working meetings every night. And we are trying to establish those in the different time zones. Because, of course, the time in North America is totally different from the time in Europe, from the time in Africa. But first of all, you can do this on your own. Just go to, you just need to open up a Twitter account. If you have one, follow the people that are pro-Ugandans. There are some people who are not even Ugandans, but are tweeting like
Twitter
about Uganda.
People are so easily used to Facebook.
Yeah, people are so easily used to Facebook.
200 characters.
And yes,
so
and actually the NRM government used that advantage. That is why I am now appealing to Ugandans to go to Twitter. Why? Because Twitter is official. Any official communication is not done on Facebook, it is done on Twitter. I think you've seen the recent communications from the State Department of the US, from the different senators. All that is because we are tweeting. We are doing some work every night. And I want to appeal to the Ugandans to join that meeting or join, just go to Twitter, put the hashtag Uganda is bleeding, or hashtag visit Uganda, or hashtag free Uganda. We have different hashtags. Or you can simply put Uganda. Then go comment, like, share, retweet, or quote tweet. Whatever you're seeing is pro-Uganda. Then you can just comment on what the Tamale Mirundi calls the that word. So you can simply just tweet. I'm telling you, we are getting results. Mama Awards were postponed because of people tweeting, people sending messages. We are sending messages every day to the senators of the United States. We want to do that to different development partners. We want to make sure they get to know who they are dealing with, because most of these people have actually signed treaties or how do they call them? They've signed different agreements with President Museveni as a person. That is why him and his people around him are getting rich and richer, because they are signing agreements on our behalf, but they are using the money on their behalf. So we want to make sure these people know who they are dealing with, such that when the time comes, they are not going to ask us for that money. We want them to know that you're giving all this money to this person, you're dealing with a person at your own risk. Don't ever ask that money from Uganda, because Uganda is not benefiting from that money. We want China to know that as you're giving us all the loans that a year we are going to pay in 94 years, when President Museveni finally goes, we are going to write to them and tell them you dealt with President Museveni as a person, not as a president. Because whatever you signed the agreement for was not done.
They have sold
the Italian who signed the agreement to build a hospital in Lubowa, we want to make sure she knows
what a scam it was. But I mean, and you bring up a very interesting topic, because whenever a country is falling down, as you initially said, it's a country that is,
a failed state. I want you to use that word.
They begin
it is a failed state.
They begin to sell it off in pieces, You sell off a piece to China, a piece to USA, a piece to Canada, because you're leaving. You're leaving anytime. So you want to go with, pack up yours and go. So the ones that are going to come after you are going to feel the burden and the weight. And again, as we said, they say the level of debt Uganda has, we have to pay it off for the next
94 years.
Some of you are just 32, 33, 34 years, so you still have 69 years of your life to pay off the debts that have been accumulated during your time, or even before you. It shows you how going back into being a failed state means. And as we are winding up, I want you to wind up with us on the direction in which she earlier ran away from. I was asking her, what should people in Gulu do? What should people in Arua do? Should people wait for their leaders? She said they don't have to wait for their leaders. If there is anything they want to do to protest, to show that they are not happy with what is going on in their communities. I personally feel that leaders have a role to play, to lead, even if it's a peaceful protest. But in a case where no leader in Uganda is rising up to lead a peaceful protest against, let's say, the election, that we just had, a lay Ugandan may feel timid. I'm thinking about myself as a person living maybe in Nansana. I may feel timid when I see all the guns on the streets. And it goes back to the history we've seen in Uganda before. In 2016, the same election happened. In 2011, people still rigged an election and they felt they needed to come out, but they were very strongly suppressed. What do Ugandans have their hope in now, apart from even rising up to protest?
I'll tell you for a fact that, first of all, like I said before, Ugandans voted Museveni out.
That one, the voting was done.
Now,
overwhelming evidence.
South Sudanese voted Bashir out. Bashir in Khartoum. Bashir declared himself a winner with 95%. 95%. People kept quiet. Like you see, Ugandans are keeping quiet. In just 1 year, there was a lady from the university. She didn't even belong to FDC, NUP, or any political affiliation in Sudan. She was just from the university. And she said, you people, enough is enough. Bashir, who won by 95%, is not the president of South Sudan. Tunisia, they had been under dictatorship for a very long time. And just the bread, the price of the bread led people to protest.
I mean, it's everywhere. Egypt.
Now, if the price of the bread can lead people to protest, what about the murder or abduction of a person? Before you know it, you're going to see the ladies. The mothers are crying. I think you can see wherever. Mothers are crying.
Abducted.
Ugandans just have to join those mothers to cry. We can even have a crying day in Uganda when everyone is crying. We can decide to we can identify some products that, pro-Museveni, and we tell people, okay, I'm not using that. Some people do already. There are some products that they know this one belongs to so and so. I am not using that because there is always an option. So some things Kyagulanyi will not say. Some things I will not say. But Ugandans, as much as you feel oppressed, this is not about Kyagulanyi. Because Kyagulanyi can even decide to go to his beach, to ride in his boat, you know, and have a comfortable life. At the end of the day, the citizens, the wananchi, are the ones who are oppressed.
We're going to have to pay the price.
It is upon them. It is upon them to realize that we are actually oppressed and desist from that oppression that is happening.
Out. Sarah Joy, your parting remarks.
My parting remarks would be, I think it's about if it's the nose has been pressed so much, and I don't want Ugandans to give up. Because it would have been crazy for you to expect Byabakama to give our an election that was organized by his boss. He would be dead by now. Though we would expect, they would expect, if Byabakama had chosen to be the martyr to deliver Uganda from captivity, he would have done it for us. Definitely let him be killed and let us get our freedom. He would have done that. Just like you saw what happened in Mukono, the returning officer, he was, I heard the narration from Nambos, the returning officer went in and asked, the likes of Chibule came in with the army guys and they told the returning officer, Mr. Mayanja, to declare Chibule and the rest as winners. The guy refused. He said, you're not the winners. From what I have on the declaration forms, you've not won. So the guy stood his ground. I wish we had more of such men who are able to, to deliver deep victory to the right place. So Ugandans should not give up. The final destiny of how you take down Museveni, hands down, is going to be an uprising, or the other option would be a natural death. Is either God is going to call him and he's going to meet either Satan or God. So it will be the two. But since he killed 500,000 people in Nuero, I don't know who he's going to meet at the gates of heaven or hell. All those, souls are crying. All those souls are crying. So at the end of the day, Ugandans should understand that the fight is not yet over. An uprising, it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, it may happen next month, but that's the only way you're going to take down Museveni. And we should start preparing mentally for such moments when they happen. Because just like he said in Sudan, Bashir he declared himself president with 95% prior to when the uprising happened. It's a year after. So Ugandans need more, they need more reason. Maybe they haven't gotten it yet, but they need more reason. When you don't have food, when you walk around with your degree, no jobs, when you saw now the land grabbing, the guys have started chasing off people. You saw what happened in Rusanya and other areas. When you lose, you have no job, but even you lose your home where you've been staying and become homeless, so many things are going to push. Because are these guys going to stop? No. Because I think someone sat down and narrated to Museveni that the only way to lead a country like Uganda, make them so poor. When you lead people who are extremely poor, they have no, But the problem is what they never told him. It is one thing leading people who are poor and leading young people. Young people will always want to fight. And the other problem he has the likes of Kyagulanyi. People are looking at right now. People saw where Kyagulanyi came from. He used to lay bricks. He was one of the people who harvested grasshoppers, and now he made it. Every Ugandan, a young man sees himself in Kyagulanyi, and you're not going to stop him. You're not going to stop him. They're going to get to a stage where they're going to feel like, you know what, enough is enough. Either I get rich or I die trying. So you're going to get to that level. And just like I said, it's going to affect so many people. though it would have been nice to have a president retire, because myself, I don't know any other president. And you know how it feels like to see, living in America, it feels so nice to having had the likes of Trump. And now there's a breath of fresh air. You see a president who is behaving like a president. That's how democracies are supposed to be. And you don't feed onto the one negative energy coming to you all the time. You see the normalcy coming in Washington. And I believe in these 4 years, there's a lot that is going to change. The words you used to hear coming from the president, echoing down to his supporters, you don't hear that anymore, because the president who is now the new president, he's decent enough, the normalcy. So things are coming back to normal. And that's what you want to see in Uganda. You want a leader who is going to put a stop to corruption. Can Museveni put a stop to corruption? Never. He's the most corrupt.
They just asked for money for masks.
Yeah. He's the most corrupt. And you know what? The vaccine is going, I was telling someone that the vaccine is going to Uganda, but I don't know how much they're going to sell it. Yet in such countries, the vaccine is free. We are getting.
And they're buying it at $7, yet in other countries, they're buying it at $2.
But when will ever a government like Uganda ever do something for its people? Right now, in USA, in fact, they're vaccinating everyone. Whether you are undocumented, in fact, if you came from Uganda yesterday, and you landed in America today, you can get an appointment for a vaccine. They are vaccinating because they know if they don't do a mass vaccination, the problem is going to stay with them. So they don't, basically the federal government is taking care of, they are vaccinating everyone. Vaccinating everyone. But in Uganda, it's going to be selective vaccination, and I'm very sure vaccines we have here, like the Pfizer, the Moderna, is going to end up in Uganda, but it's going to be for the rich.
Oh, yeah. He said
very expensive.
He's not considering the American. He's considering that of Chinese, because
Anyway, we are out of time.
I wanted to read this number.
But you see what is funny? For them, they are going to come to America and take the one from America.
Exactly.
Because that's the one they trust. All their families. You see, how selfish can a leader be? I am telling you, very soon you're going to see Museveni in America. All they are going to import, some, not a lot, enough for his family and friends, and they are going to get that. So he's extremely selfish, and it bothers me to the core.
We have currently fundraising for those comrades who are imprisoned for supporting Kyagulanyi. Like I said, we have over 3,000 Ugandans. The people in Boston, if you know of anyone who is incarcerated, he might be your relative, you can always reach out to Madame Dorothy, the NUP team leader, Boston. Or you can always send us a message, or if you want to fundraise for that cause, you can use the +1 857 719 4451. +1 857 719 4451. That's on the Cash App. It's in the Cash App names of People Power UG. You can use that to fundraise, or you can use that to send a message. You can send a message if you want to be part of the working meeting that happens every night at 8 p.m. How is it called? EST is one. EST. East Standard Time, or 5 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time.
Let's read the number again.
The number is...
So they can call that to
be part of that meeting. They can also call that number to fundraise for those comrades who are incarcerated. It is +1 857 719 4451.
All right. Thank you so much. I mean, if you can, they can also go to your page. Maybe you share that number.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can go and check on what's your Facebook. I mean, how can people find you on Facebook?
My name's but I've had questions people asking. Sarah, you're absent from Facebook. I'll be back, I think, in a week's time. You know this Ndemu Komera, your Facebook.
Okay.
So in a week's time, I'm going to be back. But I'm following, I've had people in my inbox people asking me here, you're off all your Facebook, the page, the account. Now I'm in Facebook. So, I mean, I'll be back in a week. I think in a week I'll be back.
All right, but they can check on Kapalaga Baby's Facebook
there.
page as well to see the number they can call in case you have someone, let's say, who is missing, or as you said, you have to contribute to take care of the families. As we said, Mr. Robert Chagulanyi said there are over 3,000 families or cases of people who have been kidnapped across the country that belong to the NUP or who are affiliated.
We don't know how many of those have been killed.
Who are affiliated to the party. But the police came out today in the New Vision, in the Monitor, and said they're only aware of 31 cases of kidnaps across the country.
Yeah, but how yesterday, but one, they said they don't know any.
How can they be aware of 31, yet they didn't know the kidnaps were taking place?
Maybe the 3,000 were not reported to police. That's what we are thinking.
Because it is them taking kidnapping.
How would you report to the how would you report to the thief?
Only the 31. So we hope that the military and the police in Uganda will come out unequivocally and pronounce themselves on this matter.
The assistant Okech asking all the security bodies, CMI,
he gave them 48 hours
to produce all the names of the people they have kidnapped. So you can imagine all these fractions.
It's impossible because some cases are classified. But we still remember, people like Eddie Mutwe, who are they're still in prison, right?
Yeah.
People like Nubian Lee and the likes, who never really thought they would be. Is now going to come close to
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
That was a group of over 64 people that was arrested that time, and they were all still in incarceration. So let's keep praying for the future of Uganda. Just because you are abroad, you are in Dubai, you are in the USA, you are in Canada, you are in China, you're living a dream, you're living life, with your family. At some point, you'll have to go back to Uganda. So pray for your country. Pray for, that Uganda will walk out of this status quo that we are in, and that, we will be a country that pleases people to come and visit us and understand that, it's not just about what we are hearing in Uganda. People are worried. Investors are worried. Everyone is worried about investing in Uganda. Remember, when the internet is still shut down, people are using VPN to communicate. That's coming close to a month and a half. People don't have internet. It's unheard of in the 21st century. So we hope that we can do better as a country, we can do better as people, but also you, wherever you are, keep your country in prayers. Remember, only God can change, situations that no man can change. So I am hopeful that Uganda is on a positive walk, and that God has not forgotten us, and at the right time, He is going to set us free. He's going to liberate us from whatever pestilence that we are through. So thank you so much, and I would like to thank everyone who was on the show tonight. If you are unable to call in, maybe there could have been an issue on the line. Next time we'll try to have in all your calls, and next week we shall be digging deeper into the court case that is going on. We're expecting to have a legal mind come and join us and discuss or analyze the petition, and what are the merits and demerits, and what are the possible pathways of what could eventually lead to the ruling, and how the ruling might come and make shape of it. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your week.